this second class on the mystic form will review some aspects of the first class from today, from a different angle, from the angle of empowerment of the form. To resume quickly, we have a mystic form. Its use is not obvious. First of all, the use of a mystic form is to learn how to create yourself a new identity and to remove it and to pull it back in and then to remove it and then pull it back in. And each time you take out, my sound is not good. How about now? Is it good? I'm not supposed to have any feedback. How's this? Is this one good? Okay, so now you're better, everyone? Okay. If you have feedback, it's the streaming software, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the streaming. I'm going to start it again. Everyone, a lot of people say it's fine, but I have 2-3 people who say it's not fine. Just refresh the page on the left and don't put your sound too loud, okay? If you have other applications running, such as Skype, you should quit them, okay? Alright. Who is Zelda? Who's Zelda? Yeah, telepathy will not be enough. Okay, Betsy, alright. Cool. Alright, thank you. Apparently we need to start off slow this morning, this evening. Alright. Let's start over. The use of a mystic form is to teach you how to take off your normal human identity to put on a new one. So you create yourself a new personality, a new identity, and this identity will not just be a mask, it will be a set of software that runs on your mind. And this software will allow you to think and exist in another way, freed from the conditioning of your human self. In this sense, some of your human conditioning will not be passed into the mystic form when you wear it as a mask, when you change personality, okay? So some of the conditionings that you have as a human will not take your mystic form. Your mystic form will become another person which did not go through some trials in your life. You still have to integrate all the issues of your main personality. But when you want to operate in the world, it's good to be focused in a set of mind which is not your human usual self. Your human self focuses on the fear of this, the hope of that, tastes, preferences, preferring flavors to others, preferring activities to others. Your mystic form does not have all these conditioning. Your mystic form is a new personality, a new you, that you create and wear it in a way that you will empower a new set of tools. The mystic form is meant to give you ways to work in the mystical way and the mystical planes. The mystical planes are from the higher part of the vital body the emotional body, mental body, and the lower part of the wisdom body, or the higher mind, okay? You might have a little radiance of your mystic form on your physical body. You might have some kind of radiance on your karmic plane, which is fifth plane. You will not have an effect on the fourth plane of consciousness. Once you empower the mystic form and once you wear it, it's easier to go back into the mind state of doing spiritual stuff. Now, what should we use our mystic form to do? Before we learn about spellcasting, we want to know what is the mystic form used to. We use a mystic form when we want to operate something in the world. So if you do healing, you teach, you do majutsu, kujikiri, spellcasting, Kabbalah, practical stuff, dharanis, then it will work. If you use your mystic form for siddhi meditation, it will hinder your experience. In siddhi meditation, you want to forget about all these stuff. You want to be freed in your mind of all the experiences of normal identity, okay? You want, let's say you do the avatar process. Avatar process can be used in conjunction with the mystic form because you do want to bring something into the world. Although there's no link directly, there's no problem in there. If you want to do transcendental meditation, lots of compassion mantra, fixity, don't wear your mystic form. You want to be able to snap out of it. You want to be able to free yourself from any type of identity. Each time you put on your mystic form, after a while you take it off. You say dissolve into the spiritual realm, okay? This is to free you from that personality. Now, usually, automatically, your human personae will come back, okay? The goal is to train yourself to use a mystic form to the point that when you remove the mask or dissolve the mystic form back into the spiritual potential, you won't have your human self pop into action right away, so that you'll keep your free mind, okay? Yeah, primordial stuff is too high for the mystic form. If you do anything of the primordial processes, it overrules the mystic form. You can do, although you can do, you see, that's a very good question, Sean, thank you. Doing the primordial processes while you have your mystic form will willingly accept these energies, okay? It won't, the mystic form will not make it more efficient to do primordial process, okay? But primordial process can be done while you're in mystic form, so that when you put in your mystic form, you'll be closer to God, because the program and the conditioning in your mystic form is to be a saint, basically. It's to be a holy person. The thing is, whenever you dissolve your mystic form and your human self comes back in, you won't feel yourself as a divine being anymore. You won't feel yourself involved with the 5 elements. That's why I personally don't use a mystic form while doing the primordial processes or elements, but there's no contraindication. Okay, it just overrules all of that. Just do your best to go into the primordial process all the way. Okay, but it was a nice question. So, for example, when you do Kama Chakra is meant to purify your human experiences of desire. In the first part, then there's other stuff, but the first part is to purify your misunderstanding of love, desire, sexuality, and all that. So you would not use your mystic form while you do Kama Chakra, because you really, really want it to affect your human identity, okay? Mystic form does, it does shield your human identity a bit by putting in another one, which is not the identity you work on, which is not your evolving identity. It is it is a training ground. Yeah, okay, a training ground for you to understand higher experiences and how to operate the mystical world. All right. So you've been through this charging of the form, and now you want to know, okay, what about spellcasting? What's the use? Why can't we just stay like this? Well, spellcasting is extremely useful because you are commanding an effect in the world. And this is the kind of stuff that you really need to do if you work with other people in spiritual situations. If you don't work with spiritual people, if you're not aiming at helping people around you, having a mystic form and learning to cast spells is very useful nonetheless. Just to give free blessings. Everything you do at the mystic level will be more powerful. Okay? Your mystic form can get to the point to influence the physical realm. Okay? If it's powerful enough and you know how to densify a lot. Okay? So that's the use of the mystic form. Then you learn how to empower your spells. Then you learn the greater spells or the divine level spell. And then you create yourself a great mystic form that we'll cover later on. Then you create yourself a mystic temple, and from there a mystical world, and now you understand what you're going to do at the moment of self-realization. First thing first. You have empowered your mystic form, all of you. Now you will empower your tools. Some of you have been empowering your tools also. To resume again, I've said it in other videos, but I'll say it again. You say the phrase, by the power of something, I create that object and spiritual name. Okay? And the object's name should have a purpose, okay, to indicate its orientation, right? And this is what you've done already, okay, at this point. Now what you want to do is to put spells in there to charge spell power. So what you do is you train your mind in accumulating a potential of influence through your object as a focus, so that when you call the spell, boom, it works. It will take all this charge and drop it into reality, so that you'll be altering reality in a much more efficient way, okay? And the more you train yourself at altering reality or casting spells, the more powerful your supernatural experiences will be, which is very efficient, which is cool at a certain level, but there's something more than just cool. It's the fact that it's powerful and efficient, and you feel useful then to others. And you'll see how people react very quickly and positively to your spells. Okay? Before we go into the spell, I want to teach you about the Atha sphere. Some of you have charged the 22 creative forces. Abegida hevazachete yokalamenu hofetsako reshita. Abegida hevazachete yokalamenu hofetsako reshita. Abegida hevazachete yokalamenu hofetsako reshita. Alright, it's not something we use to transcend, so when we close the eyes, we let ourselves go into it, but quickly we open the eyes and we breathe in and we sing, okay? Now, go into a state of mindfulness. So, some of you learned the mindfulness teaching, how to be mindful, conscious of the physical realm, energy realm, emotional, mental, higher self as wisdom, causality, and pure consciousness. Whoever knows that everything is one, in motion, transformation, and all manifestation of creator state, Abbu. Now breathe in and stay here. Okay? Those who didn't get the wisdom of that in the past, you'll learn. It'll be wonderful, and I'm helping you right now. Okay? The Atha sphere. If you take the 22 powers, the 22 creative forces, as shown in the Hebrew tradition, the first is vacuity, and it is vocalized ah when it first makes itself shown, its presence, okay? And then you have the final one, which is th, okay? The letter is called tav, we say th. And tha, the sound tha, will, with an H, T-H-A, will bring a manifestation in the world, okay? It contains everything between A and Tha, the first and the final. It is the Alpha and the Omega, okay? The first and the last. So what you'll do is, with your hand, you'll make some kind of sphere, and you can imagine that the sphere is inside or at around here at the tips. Okay, so you decide how you see it. Okay, I like to see it completely in, and one of the edge big enough so that one of the edge goes out, because you'll be sucking it in. Okay, so, or you can do like this and have the sphere like more condensed here between your fingers, and you'll be able to suck it in when it's, you have to really, okay, just I'll show you on the side. When you suck it in, you imagine that this sphere is very condensed with energy, and you'll be sucking in like with a straw, and you'll take it in completely. Okay, so first use Atha to condense energy of creation from vacuity to manifestation. So breathe, relax, go in vacuity. I know this was not a long time, but come back into the world. And come back with vacuity from vacuity into the world with consciousness and potential of creation. And now you make a sphere. Your fingers will be just a bit tight, not too much, but just a little tension, because you want energy and power to go there. And 3 times you look at your sphere. It is good to have the feet on the ground, but it's okay if you're cross-legged. And you'll say, Atha, and you imagine the condensation of the sphere in your hand. Atha, Atha, Atha. And it makes a sphere of vacuity, creative power, world power, energy, mass. And the more you do it, the more all the creative forces, they're packing up in there, and they're packing up and packing up. Atha. Put more. Now relax your fingers and feel it. Atha. And put your left hand around it and feel its radiance. Okay? And you can actually touch the place where it's dense and massive. Those who know how to feel the energy. Okay? Atha. 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 And now you will breathe out saying nefesh in Hebrew, or akasha in spirit. Okay? You breathe out and you say spirit. So in Sanskrit, akasha, in Hebrew, nefesh. Nefesh. And suck it in. Keep it in. And relax. And you let all this creative power invest your body. Okay? And you breathe in. What you did is you breathe in this creative power, and it goes into your system completely. Okay? And now you give it a moment, a minute, to settle in. Okay? You've been condensing a Atha sphere, which is some kind of a pill that you suck in. It's like goo, more subtle than goo. It's not sticky. It's some kind of substance, we'd say, of creative forces, and you get it. You have it in you, okay? Because you just condense it with will. If you charge the 22 creative forces, it's more powerful, but still, it works. Okay, so right hand, start the condensation. Atha, that's how we spell it. Atha. Densify. Atha. 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 Begida hevasa cheteyo kalamenusa hafitza koreshit. Atha. Avrahadara. Breathe out. Akasha nefesh. And relax. And you can feel the effect of this creative energy going into your system. Okay. So before from now on, before you do any mystic form empowerment, not the casting, but the empowerment, when you want to fabricate a spell, when you want to empower your tools that you've defined, when you want to empower your own form as a whole, you do Atha sphere. And you do it 3 times. Okay? Those who know the 22 creative forces, you can say, before you say Atha, you can go Abedigida Hevazaret and the entire 22 forms. Those who've learned the Kabbalistic wisdom of Abracadabra, which is not a joke, which is not a magician trick, it's actually Habara, which is a creator, Had, which is realizing or accomplishing the form of Dabra. Okay, so Abra, Chad, Abra. The consciousness of creation is accomplished in the form through the consciousness of creation. Abra, Chad, Abra. Okay, so and there's a whole lot of different words and different ways to say this. Okay, so those who went deep into Kabbalah, those who've charged the 22 letters, the 5 vowels, then the 50 names of God, who understand the tree of life. Then you can use abracadabra. Okay. Does this apply to Sanskrit? The A to Ha. No, it's different. Okay. You want to do Abegida Hevazareti Yokalamenusa Ofetza Koreshith, or. And when you do Atha, it has nothing to do with Hebrew, it has to do with conscious world, okay? And then, is this clear enough for your question? We might want to talk about this another time, okay? If you want to do the 50 Sanskrit letters and you have charged them, in the sense that you use the 22 creative forces wisdom to do the combination of charges, you can charge the Sanskrit alphabet also, okay, the Degvangari 50 letters, and this will give you combinations of creative forces, okay, because you have the 22. All right, you've done the, okay, then you can actually say it, yeah, and all the permutations of the letters, okay. All right. I hope this was useful for more than just one person, but in any case, okay? We will do a 3rd Atha sphere, okay? Condense. Atha. 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 Avrachadavra begidahi vazachete yokala menusa hofetza koreshi taliluhiya. Achevadava hachedava. Atha. Suck it in. I hope you didn't forget to do your little nefesh while bringing it out and then suck it in. It's okay if you didn't. I didn't remind you, but you should think about it from now on. Amen. Okay. So type, do you feel the flowing of these creative energies in you from sucking in the Atha pill, the Atha sphere? Type it on the keyboard. Alright, good. Once you have, alright, thank you. Once you have the Atha very invested in yourselves, very invested in your body, now every type of construction, every type of fabrication, formation, manifestation will be much more powerful, more efficient, okay? I know you would have loved to receive this wisdom when you started your mystic form, but it's okay. It's you just have to learn how to to do it the hard way. Not the hard way, but the long way, where you take your time and you learn how to think and to fabricate your mystic form. And when you learn the Atha sphere, you take 3 pills just before any kind of new construction work. So when you will empower your mystic form from now on, you can do it 3 times, and then you do your 5 to 10 minutes process to empower your mystic form. When you will be doing the actual spell casting, it's not useful. It's not useless, but not useful. It's just another thing, okay? Alright. So, this video will be available afterwards to rewatch for every one of you, okay? So, breathe and relax. You have already charged your mystic form. You've already created it. We've been through this a few times, so we're just going to summon it, okay? We're just going to take again the time to contemplate what is the divine concept you use when you charge your mystic form and when you wear it, okay? So I will go with my contemplation. It's not the first phrase, it's a contemplation before we do the actual process, okay? Alleluia, havrahadavra, abegida hevazachete yokala menusa hofetza koreshita. So for you, it could be a prayer to Brahma. It can be something a few words of creation. It can be the primordial consciousness, Adisamyan. You use something that inspires you the act of creation. Okay? Now, by the power of this divine concept, I create my mystic form, English word followed by the Sanskrit or Hebrew or Japanese word, okay? Depending on the sacred language you took, okay? So I'll go with mine so that you can see how I do it. I say it in English, okay? By the creator name, Spirit creates the form of severe justice, Gevurat Tzedek. Don't close your eyes like, oh, go invest yourself and come in, alright? Now, my own personal trip, I translated everything in Hebrew. Beshem Maborea, Anefesh Baratsura Shel Gevurat Tzedek. And now the general form comes in. I don't feel all of my tools very powerful, but the general form comes in. So now I'm in mystic form. I was already in mystic form before I started teaching, but I just reenacted it, okay? It's time to do it if you're not done. Some of you summon and manifest the garment followed by your main tool and your other tool, okay? Some people have 3 tools, okay? I have 3 tools. Some people summon the tools, right hand, left hand, then the garment. It's your choice, okay? The first tool that you empower and summon in order, in your order, will be the most powerful one. It will naturally become that way, okay? So choose which one you want to have first. If you ever want to change your order, you can do that too, okay? It doesn't change anything, okay? It'll reset the power levels of each, okay? So I go with my 3 tools and I finish with my garment, because my garment is the clothing, which for me is an armor, is the least powerful item of my mystic form. It doesn't mean it's not powerful, it means it's the least of all the items, okay? So I'll say first item, I summon mine, and then you summon yours, okay? Aratron faleg yotri medzaina cherut afiezach. Okay, go ahead. Aratron faleg, form the sword of freedom, afiezach. Now you do yours. Now I'll summon my second one. Bethor Hagit, form the shield of justice, Behiematz. Bethor Hagit Yotzri met Magin Hatzedek Behiematz. And you do yours. You can do yours while I do mine, but you can just look at the effect if you wish. For me, it is the third item. For some of you, it's the second item or the garment. Okay, because I have 4 items, so if you only have 3, which is 1 garment and 2 tools, you'll just wait at the 4th one. Okay, I'll do the third item. Och full form the wings of light. Och full yotzri met kanfeya hurim ofyekach. And do yours. Okay. I translated everything in Hebrew, but you can just say your phrase in English and call the Hebrew or Sanskrit or Japanese name of your item. Okay. If you don't have it yet, it's okay. Now I will do my 4th item, which is my garment that I do at the end. Ophiel form the armor of splendor. Ophiel yotzeret shirion nahod o yeshach. And now that we're done, finish summoning your 4th one if you have to. Now that we're done, in Sanskrit you say Om, Tat, Sat, which is that is truth. Divinely, that is truth. In Hebrew you say Amen. In Japanese, you have to find out. Okay? Tara has information about this. In Japanese, you do something which is, I had the word once, it's certainly, or it is so, so be it. It's some kind of expression like this, okay? You just ask Tara about it, okay, on Majutsu. The mystic form and the tools have been empowered, have been summoned right now, okay? You know, when you summon your mystic form, you tend to have your human identity come back, okay? So what I want you to do now is you'll dissolve your entire form, okay? By saying the mystic name followed by tool, 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 garment, or garment, tool, 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 whatever. What's your order? You say in the order that you've set for yourself, okay? If you have only 2 tools, it'll be your garment, the 2 tools, you decide, okay? And once you've called just the name of each, you say dissolve back in spirit, okay? In Sanskrit it's Anuvili Antarakasha, in Hebrew it's Lefazer Lonefesh, in Japanese it's the Japanese for dissolve back into spirit, okay? You'll have to find out once more. I'll make this available. I think I'll call the research for someone, okay? So when you dissolve, don't do it yet. When you dissolve, let's say sugar in water, you don't lose the sugar. It just not crystallize anymore. It goes back into the water generally, okay? So in this way, you don't lose what you've programmed or what you've charged. You just put it back in potential in your pool of consciousness, okay? And it swirls there. And it's always there. The moment you just call a name, bang, it can reshape again and come back. And the more you do it, the more it's efficient, okay? Now we'll call the dissolution of our form like we have done. So I'll go with mine, just to make sure I'm following my notes. Yeah, okay. This is what we'll do. We'll dissolve the form, okay? Gevura, Afieza, Behematz, Ofieka, Oyesha, Lefazer Lonefesh. And it all goes back to potential. I still feel it somewhere, but not manifest. Now you do yours. Good. You're good? All right. Thank you. So, the next step is construction of the spells. You will summon, now that we've done the entire form and dissolve it, it's refreshed, but you have it as potential now. Don't summon your entire form, just take your main tool. Your garment if you want, but just your main tool. Okay, for me, Atha. Just summon the name and make it. Okay, want it, and you'll start making it. You don't have, once you've charged and charged and charged and charged, you don't have to say the entire phrase and the English words and then the Hebrew, Sanskrit or Japanese words. You can just go ahead and call it Atha, and you make a physical gesture or do like this when you want to put your clothing on. Just some kind of move that confirms, okay, that you're really wearing it. Okay, and now you have your tool. You have your main tool, right? Your main tool. Okay, let's start about. You all feel it? Yes? It comes back? Okay, thank you. Don't need to type. I got your answers. Right. You'll take your tool, dissolve back into spirit, and it's back into potential. Okay, so you can summon just a tool like this by will, and then put it back in potential. Dissolving is not destruction. It's not separation. It's not deleting or removing from you. It's to uncrystallize, and that's it. It just goes poof, it dissolves, and it invests your pool of consciousness inside as much as outside. Okay, so your tools are always somewhat radiating when they're charged. Okay, so you have them with you always. They're just inactive. They're passive, and still they have an effect in your life. Now, let's talk about the spells. A first level spell is just a word of command. For me, for my sword, it's set free. Okay, 1, 2, 3 words, as long as a very, very short command. If you have a vial of healing, you'd say, vial of healing, heal. Okay? If you have some kind of fan of purification of densities, you'll say, fan of purification, purify, prakshala. Okay? So, you utter just a command, just a single word of command, so that you'll be spellcasting the first level spell. Okay? Just one level, boom. I'll go with mine to show you. Okay? The first level spell is just one target. Okay? But for the sake of the teaching, I'll do it to each one of you watching right now. Okay? But the goal, usually you would just go to one person, one target, and if it's an organ that you want to heal, you'll cast it on only the organ. Okay? It's very selective spell, level 1 spell. So, Atha, set free, les choquer, les chacher. And it summons freedom energy of cutting away the attachment and the yearning. Okay, I've used my sword, le fazer hunefesh. Okay, now if you don't have right now the Sanskrit, Japanese, Hebrew, or whatever sacred language you use for your form, if you don't have the sacred word for your verb, your command, just say it in English for now. Okay, so you say that you'll just invoke in a powerful instance your form, your object, your tool, and you'll select a target and you'll cast it. Now for the purpose of feeling it, reflect. Okay, so now I have my shield of reflection. Okay, what I'll do, just make sure. What I'll do, I'll just want to make sure I'm right about everything I say. You'll pick me as a target, okay? And it'll be rebounding, the effect will be amplified and rebound on you. So, pick me, focus on me, and try to do me your blessing or your spell. Go ahead. Beye mazverat on Eloi hagena tzadakim mahagalat tzedek. Mahagalat. Alright, so you got this amplified effect. Okay, so I remove from me the sphere of protection and the mirror. Now you're gonna pick me as a target. And you're gonna do it again. I'm gonna let myself affect, okay? Just to validate and to feel it, okay? Go ahead. I love it when you do that. Okay. Now I'll take this and I'll ground it. Just to help me receive the full effect. It's like integration but in the body. Alright, now everyone, you will be picking Rajagata. Rajagata is John Long from El Paso. If you never saw him, just think Rajagata, John Long from El Paso. And summon your item and cast. Alright. Now you will do this casting again. It will be on Ryan. Okay. This guy who logged as Ryan. I think his name is Ryan Garrett. Those who know him, or else just think Ryan, who's watching this video right now, who's watching the webcast, and I'll be redirecting your energy. Go ahead. Ryan Garrett. Boom. Oh, yes, okay. Now, take your tool, dissolve it. So Rajagata and Ryan, you'll take just a few seconds to type a summed up effect that you felt for everyone else to read it, okay? The goal of casting a spell is to be able to help someone, but it's also to teach you how to condense powerful effects in very short moments, okay? You feel really heavy? Yes, because a lot of people here have, if you had been here this afternoon, the people were all about happy and compassion, and now you have too much you're used to and it goes boom, okay? Yeah, healing, loving, powerful, deep impact. I agree, Rajagata. It's heavy because you like have 20 people spellcasting on you at the same time. It just sank in. Okay, so when you want to cast over a long period of time, did you all dissolve? Dissolve your tool. Those who didn't, thank you. Yeah, it won't go away. Don't push it away. Just dissolve it. Call the dissolution. It goes back to potential. You might still feel it, but you commanded it to go back to potential. Okay. Shanti Boom, if you have a healing effect, if you don't specify what part of the body is to be healed, it will just provide healing for the entire system. If you give a specific part, it will affect the specific part. It's magic. Okay. So you decide what it does. If you just look at someone, heal. Okay? It will heal. If there's no precision, there's no precision. It will heal. Okay? It'll take the entire effect of your power and dissolve it in the or spread over the entire body of the person. Okay? If you have a specific healing target, heal that. Okay? Or heal while your mind is on a lever, or a stomach or a lung or the heart or the brain or whatever part, it will affect this part. It depends on what's on your mind. It's your target, okay? You just command a word and your target, whatever you have in mind, is where the energy will go, all right? That is very useful. If you want to cast over a long period of time in a more gentle manner, what you do is you'll pick up your tool, you'll focus, and you'll repeat the word, okay? You'll say like, Afiezach, Le shacher, le shacher, le shacher, le shacher, le shacher, le shacher. Set free, le shacher, set free, le shacher. Le fazer mon nefesh. Okay, and you can go like this, just command and breathe and relax. You can't be all out power for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, okay? But usually a good casting will be 1 minute. Okay, it's an instantaneous effect or over a minute. Okay, 5 minutes will have more powerful, intense effect, and you'll come to a point of just the equivalent of reciting mantra. Spellcasting is you condense a lot of effect immediately, and if you continue and continue and continue, it'll be the same as using a mantra. Okay. So you might as well, if you want to treat someone for 20 minutes, you might as well go with a mantra. Okay, or you cast your spell and after 1 minute focus, you don't dissolve your tool, just take your Maha or whatever tool you use and you do your mantra like you would do the mantra. You can combine, okay? So, if you have a healing item, the healing item works because it's binded to a spiritual force. Because it's not I create this healing item. It is by the power of that spiritual form, there's manifestation of that healing item. Okay, and then you summon the name. Okay, and by the force of, by this creator, by this or that process that is beyond you, your mystic form becomes a hub to channel spiritual forces. Okay. And you should not have 25 tools. 3 is good, 2 is good, 3 is good, 4 is intense. Now if you put on more than 4 tools and 1 garment, you will end up just dissolving your efforts over more tools. You would prefer having 1 mystic form with very specific and powerful objects that you have empowered. If you have more time, don't empower more tools. Simply empower more the tools that you have, okay? Or do other spiritual processes, okay? A level 1 spell is with a target. A level 2 spell is longer and is meant to have an area of effect. Now, I'll tell you about my 2nd level spell for my sword. It's a well of freedom. What I do is I dig my sword in the ground. I don't put my hand down. I just, well, not to the floor. I just put my hand down in between my feet. And my 2 feet are connected to the earth. And I say, my sword with the earth, come up and flow forth, pour and beyond, and manifest a well of freedom. And all it does is waves of freedom coming in and blaze over, let's say, 10 to 20 feet radius circle around me that will just whoom, 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 and all thousands of swords coming out of the ground with earth energy to cut away the bindings and the slavery to desires and help people be freed, okay? It will work on the entire area. It's good for a room, it's good for a place, okay? That's my spell. If I want to do my shield of justice in my left hand, okay? The 2nd level spell is the sphere of justice. So for 2nd level spell, you want to use more than 1 word of command. You use a few words that will describe the effect, okay? For example, for me, I have it translated in Hebrew. What I say is Behemoths and the divine will. Protect the righteous sphere of justice. Maha, okay? So I decided to go all out Hebrew, but I could just say Behemoths and divine will. Protect the righteous with the sphere of justice, Maha, and pick you. Okay. Amen. After you're done, you say Amen or Om Tat Sat to declare this is done. Okay? Before you dissolve. Okay. Let's say I want to do it all out Hebrew. I pick every one of you, including those not logged on. Behimatz veratzon Eloi hagen al hatzadakim mahagal hatzedek mahagal hatzedek mahagal hatzedek sphere of justice mahagal hatzedek. Amen. Behimatz lefazer lo nefesh. Okay, so what it did is put around you a sphere of justice, of divine justice, okay? And it brings divine will, the will of God, to make sure that you will be protected against unrighteousness, okay? But this sphere protects the righteous, meaning that in places where you do not have integrity, it won't force it on you, it won't bind karma on you, it won't force you to evolve. It will just not protect you if you're the one who is not righteous, okay? If you're not in the good perception of things, okay? So it's useful if you did nothing wrong and you feel good about yourself, okay? So think about it, your main tool that you just declared one verb. What would be your area effect? Let's say you have a healing tool. You'd summon this tool and some other greater force, Divine Mother, this or that, let's say for healing. Flow forth with your divine love with an area effect of healing, okay? So instead of a sphere of justice, in this case could be a fountain of Amrita, okay? You decide how you create your own, okay? If you want all elemental spirits around to follow your will and you have a sort of command, you'd say all spirits act in such a way to protect all the people, or to bring more resources to the vital plane, or you decide what will be your second level spell, which will be area effect, will be greater effect, okay? Are you good so far? So you have level 1 spell for your tool, which is localized target. Level 2 spells, a few phrases, 2, 3, 4 phrases, and it will have an area effect, okay? Alright, so, and you have to take the time to define your level 1 and level 2 spells for all your items, okay? Your garment, it's not useful to have a second level spell for your garment. You just have a 1 level spell, which is an effect on you, where your tools usually affect other people, and you can choose yourself as a target, but usually will affect other people too. Your garment is to affect you. Your garment is meant to bring you back into a certain state of being. For me, it's the state of integrity, of alignment with the sphere of Hod. Okay, emotionally align with universal mechanics. Okay, so that's my garment. Okay. Oyeshah. And I don't have a spell for my garment. I don't care. You can have it if you want. I just wear it. Every tool has 2 levels of spells. A level 1 and a level 2 spell. After a spell, do you dissolve the tool use, or just at the end when you dissolve all the mystic form? You dissolve when you're done with your mystic form. Okay? Each time I cast a spell, I summon the tool, cast a spell, say Amen, and then dissolve the tool because I'm done. Okay? But if you're planning on doing a ritual process, you'll summon your form, you'll do your spell with the Amen at the end of the Amen or Om Tat Sat, or the equivalent of Japanese, if you have a Japanese form. At the end of all spells, you confirm that is so. I confirm it when you're done with your focus, which is 10 seconds, 1 minute, it's like you wish, okay? When you're completely done with all the ritual, you'll dissolve everything, okay? But if you do just a one-shot spell, you're in public, you summon a tool, you cast, and you say Amen, and you dissolve it, because you're not wearing your mystic form in public, okay? You can if you want, but don't wear your mystic form when you're in the mundane mindset, okay? If you just roam in the world, don't put your mystic form, okay? So your mystic form will not be associated to shopping or doing the groceries, okay? Although you should put your mystic form if you're doing spiritual representation. Alright? If you're walking, if you're just walking in meditative state, summon your form, okay? You'll have an effect. Alright, every tool has level 1, level 2 spells. Now you will have for your entire mystic form a level 3 spell, where you invoke all the energies of your tools to combine together and make a big effect, okay? And I'll teach you later on about this, but usually it's just a big set of phrases, a big ritual process with signs and symbols and stuff, where you just bring everything together and cast one powerful spell. My spell is Divine Justice. Divine Justice is when the Bureau of Integrity of the universe, the karmic plane and consciousness, all set themselves together so that every level of energy in nature and supernature will converge to someone and impose rectification, okay? So Divine Justice was helpful in the past when people were unjust towards me or people around me, okay? So I'll just show you how I do it, okay? Summoning all the tools separately, then doing an invocation, a few phrases. What I'll do, I'll say in English, okay? It's Tzedek Eloi, okay, which is Divine Justice. I summon the tools, Gevura Tzedek, Afiaza, Behiematz, Ofieka, Oyesha. Alleluia, Eloah Vidahat, Shaddai Elahai, Elohim Tzebaot, Yahweh Tzebaot, okay? And then I'll say Divine Justice, focusing on my target. Reveal the truth, spiritual and natural forces impose your divine will, and then I strike with my fist a few times in my palm, saying Tzedek Eloi, okay? For the sake of it, I will, usually it's a single target. I can do it on a corporation, although it's not wise to disturb them, so I never did. You can do it, well, I can do it on a political party, although I still never do it because it's not wise to disturb these guys. Respect them and they'll respect you. Let's say a small business has been very difficult on you to the point that it's not about a lesson where you have to detach yourself from your yearning and your gain and your envy and your reaction towards the service you got. But let's say someone really stole something from you and you want to impose divine justice, okay? If it's going to happen once in your life and you just want to reassure yourself, don't charge a justice spell, okay? Use something useful every few days, okay? Like healing and rectification, favorable experiences and stuff like that, okay? So my mystic form name and then my tools. Gevura Tzedek, Afiezah Behiematz, Ofieka, Oyesha, Hallelujah, Eloah Vedahat, Ya Shaddai Elhai, Elohim Tzebaot, Yahweh Tzebaot, Tzedek Elohi, Legalot Haemet, Kohot Rohayim et Tivhiyim, Koferet Sonar Hailoi, Tzedek Eloi, Tzedek Eloi, Tzedek Eloi. Amen. Okay, so that's a divine level spell. In this case, it was dissolved in all of you to bring divine justice, and none of you will be affected. Swaprema, did you have a nice afternoon? Just to tease you. Alright. You will learn about divine level spell later on. Okay. So now you have more stuff to... okay, you slept. Good. Perfect. After you are done with creating a mystic form, empowering it, empowering your tools and a garment, empowering level 1 and 2 spells for all your tools, you can have a level 1 spell for your garment if you want. Let's say you want to go back into a state of being and you want to cast it on you to force yourself back into that state. It has to be precisely aligned with your garment purpose. For me, it was not useful. I just invoke it and it brings these energies and it works on me. I could ask to be tuned into the universal mechanics. The verb would be tune in to HOD. Okay. I didn't care. Okay. I didn't spend time on this one. But level 1 and level 2 spell for all your tools. And 1 level 3 spell. 1 divine level spell. Okay. Local effect level 1, area effect level 2, invokes more spiritual stuff, and then invokes divinity, invokes God, 3rd level spell. After you're done that, you will form a great form. You have to do your mystic form with a humanoid form, okay? Like a human. Because you need to use it to learn how to put on and off your identity until you can just free yourself with identity or create a new one for yourself, and you get acquainted with this concept, okay? And this will train you as a human to use it, okay? And to work as a mage. Then you have a great form. The great mystic form is a mythological animal. For some people it's 10 feet, 15 feet, very dense and powerful animal. For me, it's a dragon, about 30 meters, excuse me, about 30 to 50 meters. It changes shape and size a bit, but it's between 100 and 150 feet, depending on my state of being. The better I feel and the more powerful I feel as an avatar or a mage, the bigger and more powerful it is, okay? Except when I want to write it in consciousness, it becomes 20-30 feet long because it adapts to my usual shape and size, and I start to see from its eyes, and I roam around in my dragon as my dragon, okay? But your great form is something you can go into or just have as a familiar spirit, as a friend, okay? As a tool. And you'll have an entity. What you'll be doing, you will be creating an entity. Make sure it's virtuous and powerful. For me, it's a dragon, okay? A diamond dragon, okay? The great diamond dragon king, okay? So what I do is Gevura Tzedek, transform into the great dragon king, okay? The great diamond dragon king. I say in Hebrew, your mystic form can transform into it, or if you want, you can stay in your mystic form and just invoke a new power, like of the power of Divine Mother, of Divine Father, of Shiva Lingam, or Eheye Eloave Dahach Dayelaya Donai Melech. By the power of that, I create the great form of Bang, okay? And whatever goes into your system will work. For me, it is my tools that provide the energy, the mystic form tools that provide the energy to the dragon, okay? It is my mystic form that feeds the dragon, okay? So this is why I say, Gevura Tzedek, transform into the great form of the Diamond Dragon King, okay? I don't lose Gevura Tzedek. Actually, I can be as Gevura Tzedek riding on the dragon, but why would I do that? If the wings I have becomes the wing of the dragon, and the sword becomes all the claws, the teeth, the horns, and all the coverings, my garment becomes the skin and the lower skin, all becomes adamant and obsidian, and when light goes through the dragon, or through me as a dragon, or through my dragon alone, it sheds light of all colors everywhere. And that's how I work. Okay, that's how it works. I use my form to fuel the dragon. Okay, this is why I like to empower my mystic form a lot, and then just deliver this power to the dragon. Okay, I don't lose the power of the mystic form. It's the moment I go in mystic form and use it to empower the dragon that makes it so. Sometimes I'll just create the dragon. Gevura Tzedek. Eloah, Eloah, manifest the great dragon king. Okay. So that's the way I do it. But for, let's say, Sagni, she would be invoking the 5 elements to the divine level elements, the primordial elements, to condense and form the Chimera, okay, which is the creature of the elemental power that she has, okay. I don't know anyone else who has a great form. There's Tara, who's working on his mystic form. Usually I say take a mythological animal, take of something, but in this case, yes, the mystic form can be your Tara Shantiloka, let's say, can be this big 100 feet tall white Tara with 8 arms and with the angry face, or yeah, it can be a big divinity. It will not, it's just that you must not confuse it with the actual divinity. Your mystic form will not be Tara. It will be a representation of Tara. Yeah, Mangalaloka Tara, perfect. You can make this, okay? But your great form will be the equivalent of a statue. A statue is not the Tara that you will be empowering. It will be a statue representation, and it will live, it will act, it will be channeling the true experience of Mangalaloka Tara, which is way beyond, and it will go into it, okay? Because you're going to use the actual divine Mangalaloka Tara to pour into and manifest your great mystic form of Mangalaloka Tara, that you can also call in this way. Just in your mind, don't confuse the actual divinity and your form, okay? As long as you're clear with that, you can do it. I like to create a completely new thing. Well, life after life, I have my dragon, but the first time I did it was that way. I didn't refer to anything that existed, although there is a Diamond Nagaraja, Dragon King. I use this one, okay? Can it be a gigantic angel of light? It can be a gigantic angel of light, if you want, okay? You can take a creature or a being like this. Don't make it too humanoid, but an angel is humanoid. It's okay. You can use it, okay? People like the white tiger, some people like the golden tiger, some people use other experiences. I know Gurugam already has a dragon for a few lifetimes. He had it. So, your great mystic form, if you empower it enough, and if you did your job, your homework with the mystic form itself, first level, second level spell, 1 third level spell with all things, and then you know how to condense this kind of stuff, then your mystic great form will become a familiar spirit, an authentic living being on its own, okay? With no soul, but with consciousness, with mind, okay? As much as you have. As much as you wanted to be. If you know how to give birth to a soul, which is something I can teach you only really later, then you can make it an actual living conscious sentient being that will still stay with you. But if it gets its own soul for a certain amount of time, it will leave you, okay? It'll remember you, it'll say, thank you, Ma, I'm a teenager now, I'm leaving home, and it'll go away, okay? So you don't put a soul in there, put consciousness so that it will operate like a golem, like a machine, okay? But actually it has consciousness, and it does channel real divine level energy, okay? And that's a really cool stuff about the mystic form, is once you've charged the mystic form, then your nervous system can handle consciousness at the mystic level with much more power. If you did not charge a mystic form, don't even waste your time with the great form. You don't have the power, you don't have the energy to lift this weight of energy, okay? Okay, it's very important to practice yourself with a full-blown mystic form, and and your mystic form, your great form, the greater form, the mythological form, will have one spell, which will be just one big blob, one big bomb or area effect or something. Okay, for me it's the hurricane of non-attachment, and I will cast it on you all so that you know what it is. First of all, go back to the self, everyone. It's important to go back to the state of self. גבורת צדק חפול דמות גדול של מלך דרקון יהלום. And now the dragon. And some of you may feel like, you know, the gaze I give sometimes when I'm with my dragon, and you have the feeling that I just look through you. Okay, now the dragon is there. Okay, it's within me, it's around, it's swirling, and because it's a great mythological form, and I master the art of non-locality, not physically embodied but mystically empowered, nonetheless, you can all feel the presence of the dragon around you. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you all. Drakon hayalom melek drakon melek drakon. Okay, that goes like this: half oriental, half occidental dragon. Crystal and black stone, when light goes through it, shines everywhere and has a very deep gaze with green eyes. I will cast my spell, which is the hurricane of non-attachment. I will tell you in English the words I say. Infinite light, primordial swirls, lightning surges, diamond dust spikes, adamant blades, diamond dragon king, blow the non-attachment hurricane. Ein Sofaur Reshita Galgalim Nachsholei Basak Yetodot Avak Yahalomin Lehavim Kshim Melek Drakona Yahalom Linshov Sufalosika 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 Sufalosika. Amen. Okay, so this is the great spell that is casted from the great form. The dragon, your mystic form, your big angel of light, will have an effect. You notice that all my spells are somewhat oriented into a specific way. My first level spell, let's say the sword, first level spell is to free a target. Second level spell of the sword is to make a well of freedom. It just pours out blades everywhere in the area to cut away whatever attachment would there be, okay? Even those I'm not conscious of, okay? It just pours out. For the shield in my left hand, which is a mirror shield, Behemoths reflect le shaker. What it does, it just reflects something comes from a specific target or something specific. Okay, and then Sphere of Justice creates a sphere around you. Okay, for the wings, it is, well, I like to use shed light. In this case, it's because of my wings. The first spell is shed light, but the target is the area, okay? And shedding light will not be this dramatic effect, because I just say wings of light shed light. I say it in Hebrew, okay? And or enlighten, it will bring light. What it does, it is share wisdom and energy from the power of Ok and Ful, which is a part of the Arbatel of magic system, to bring light and energy into a place, okay? Elevate the vibration, okay? So it is a target, but the target is an area, meaning that in the entire area it's so big for a level 1 spell that it's not that powerful, but it will help raising the energy. Then there's the fact that it's my mystic form and I'm quite an efficient mage, and it does drastically elevate the energies of an area when I use the wings of light. But for me it's still low level, okay? Just don't compare, okay? I got 20 something years of practice with this in this lifetime. My second level spell with my wings is to just produce an intense wind-like effect. What it does is producing a field of convection for power of love to raise. And what it will do, it will help the kundalini of everyone to raise it. No spell can affect the kundalini of others, but a spell can affect the wisdom body, the mental body, emotional body, and vital body, okay? So it goes into everyone's body in the entire place, and it will pull the convection up in them, okay? So it has to do with the elevation of self, wings, okay? Like the Garuda of Vishnu, for those, if it means something for you, okay? I don't have a spell for my garment. I just wear it because it is, while I'm in harmony with the universal mechanics, it keeps me in this flowing state. My garment makes every spell casting I do more powerful and efficient. And it prevents people from hurting me if they're not mages or in tune with the will of God. Okay. My third level spell, Divine Justice. You had a little taste of that. Then the mystic form. I have my great form. And the great form is not necessarily me. I can wear it. I can ride it. I can just stay there and look at it. I can invoke it. And what is fun with the great form, it's autonomous. If you program it to just be there and look, gaze at people, what my dragon does, it gazes. Okay, so people do feel observed, but what it does, people find it much easier to look at themselves also. Okay, it shares the gaze, the consciousness of what goes on inside. So yes, you can do something that will somewhat assist in integration process for others. Okay, and then the great spell of my dragon, you'll find your great spell. I decided to do a few phrases. I have 7 phrases in a command, or 8 lines if you want, but I didn't think about it. I just took whatever components I wanted in there and push it in. Usually I'm more fanatic than this, and I watch it. I look at the amount of tools it works. So it works on the emotional plane mostly because there's 8 lines, 8 levels of command. Okay. So that was the mystic form. Then the mystic great form, the mythological form, we also call the mythological form. If your mythological form is just big light, it won't work. You need some kind of body or embodiment or something. If it's an angel, you'll have difficulty having feet with this angel. But if you have feet on your angel, with much effort, it can manifest feet. It will be able to densify these holy energies, okay? So having 100 feet angel around you, don't look up. It's a joke. Okay, I'll type my own for whoever got it. Okay, once you learn that, then we can teach you about creating your mystic temple, a place in your consciousness where you can meet other people who know how to exist in consciousness. And once you've done that, we can teach you how to create your own mystic world, a pocket world, and then you have enough idea to imagine what would be the Buddha body or the Christ body, which has nothing to do with all the empowerments you've been doing so far, okay? You need to go stepping stone, one at a time, okay? Are there any questions? While you type your questions, I'm going to tell you a few comments. Whoever wants to do spell casting, you better have a mystic form charge. The healers, it's not necessary, it's useful. If you want to be able to handle big groups, you might want to have a personality, which is what can have the big groups. I have a question. Can you type the proper lettering of the Hebrew dissolution formula? I'll send you through the document. I have a document and you'll see it. Okay? Lefazer lo nefesh. I'll send it to you. Anuvil antara kasha. Okay? For the big form, you do a big sentence. To manifest your big form is whatever divine power will be invested in your divine form. Oh, big divine power combined with my mystic form, or oh, divine power and my mystic form manifest the great mythological being. What's your name? Okay, you compose something. Okay, it's a sentence. It's a sentence a bit like the mystic form, but just a bit more. Just put a bit more gravy, but not too big. Okay. What you want to do is repeat this phrase over and over and over again while you breathe and you empower the form. The first, second level spell, must they be similar in nature? No. The first and second level spell don't have to be similar in nature. I have a sword that cuts. It doesn't mean that my second level spell has to be with cutting. It could be with using the sword to command. It could be using the sword to define an area on the floor where people can't moving with demons, let's say. Doesn't work that much, but you get the idea. Okay, you define something that still works with your tool. Okay, if you want to do spells that doesn't fit with any of your tools, just become a mage and practice other spells. If you have only 2 tools, create a 3rd tool. If you have 3 tools, a 4th tool is pushing it a bit, but you can have 4 tools and a garment, okay? If you really want to have a set of tools, but you'd be better to practice empowering specific spells. If you want to do more spells, learn Kabbalah as a whole, learn Majutsu as a whole, so you can do a very wide range of spells. But you will never be as powerful than with the spells that you have empowered in your mystic form. Okay? Do you describe the function? Well, in the great form, you mean, Tara? Yes. I'm saying Gevurat Tzedek transform into the great form of the Diamond Dragon King. That's all I say. Okay? I invoke Gevurat Tzedek. I don't have to invoke what divine power is in my great dragon, because all the holy beings in all the forms of Gevurat Tzedek will be invested in the dragon. Okay, so my dragon has, amongst other things, 7 spikes in the back, not too heavy, just 7 areas, big sections on his back, with the 7 symbols of Aratron, Betor, Phaleg, Hot, Hagit, Ophiel, and Ful, which is the 7 spirits of the Arbatel. And on his torso, he has a cross, and he has Eloah Vedahat, Shaddai El Chai, Elohim Tzebaot, Yahweh Tzebaot. Okay, so he has this kind of cross of energies, and these energies are connected also to his 4 paws, his 4 hands and legs with claws. Okay. So your mystic form will get the traits of your great mythological form will gather the traits of your mystic form in time. Okay, unless you command it otherwise, but it would be stupid. To use the dissolution in Japanese, Tara just wrote it to you. Kai San Yu Nakare, okay? Kai San Yu Nakare, okay? Which is dissolve inside spirit, okay? Kai San Yu Nakare, okay? It's not you. When you see Y-yo-u in Japanese, it's not you, it's yo, yo, okay? Would I be right to say that the less tools, the better, given that they have been charged with the needed charge to make them as powerful as possible to fulfill? Yeah, well, the more you have tools, the more you spread your consciousness and charge time over all of them. The less tools you have, the more powerful they will be. Okay? I found to have one garment and 3 tools to be a very, very good balance, because it gives you a certain area of effect, a wider variety that works. Okay, like for me, it's protection of aggression and injustice, especially in my work when I trigger people. I trigger people to evolve, and for a while they believe that I'm the cause of their suffering because I am the trigger of their experience. So it's useful to reflect back this to them, okay, so that they will see. To cut attachment is very useful for me, and also as an exorcist. The Wings of Light, very useful as an exorcist, as a teacher of energy, of greater wisdom. That's what I find useful. I don't have any healing aspect. Okay, if I want to do a healing, I resort to elements or other techniques. Okay, I don't use my form for that. I find it more useful for me because I'm not a healer. Okay. On the second level spell, can we ask the spiritual and elemental forces to stop the oil spill or help out the situation in some way? In your second level spell, don't build your second level spell for a specific application like the actual oil spells, okay? But if you want that your second level spell of an item to be able to command elemental forces, spiritual and elemental forces, you go into a very wide area, okay, and you won't have any efficiency. If your second level spell wants to bind the elemental powers, your second level spell will be invoking the 5 elements, okay? So it will make a few phrases. I summon the earth, I summon the fire, I summon the heavens, I summon the water, I summon the air. All combine 5 elements to produce that effect, okay? To contribute. Your command word could be contribute, okay? So it will contribute to, and on your casting you'll be indicating whatever effect you want, okay? And then if you want to contribute to help with the oil spill, it will help. Yes, it will, in very large ways. In this case, it might also start to affect the economy also, because the oil spill, as well, there's politics in there and economy and stuff like that. You might not want to deal with that. You want to deal with the environment and bringing back the environment to the best possible thing, okay? Shivagam asked, a few years ago you did a course about dragons where I felt the blue dragon with me, and it's quite similar to what you explained. Can it be my great form? You can make yourself a great blue dragon if you want. Okay, you'll have to find out what resonates with you, what this great blue dragon would be. Okay, the blue dragon that you saw in the past, well, I see it now that you talk about it, but I've not seen it a lot around you. You just spoke about it and it just spoke, but it's far from your actual consciousness. You'll have to recharge everything. It's not that being that you'll be using. Okay, that's just a somewhat big water elemental that found you interesting. Okay, Tara asked, for using the Yubo in, is it useful to charge the mystic form before? The mystic form will make any type of casting more powerful. Even the Yubo in, the healing mother, the Daikongu, even if you don't have anything in your mystic form that has to do with the actual spell casting you're going to do, wearing your mystic form, you're wearing a form, a personality, a set of rules, of tools, of power and energies that is meant to cast. So invoking the crystallization or manifestation of your mystic form and your tools before you do any type of spell casting will make it more efficient. even if the spell has nothing to do with any one of your tools. You have spells for your tools, you have tools, eventually you'll have a great form and a great spell. You can still cast any type of spell that you've learned through other systems such as Majutsu or Kabbalah. Alright? Any more questions? I love those questions. Alright. It has been a wonderful evening. It was productive, growing. You will have access to these videos. And until then, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for all of you who are paying a lot of attention to this mystic form thing. It didn't seem to show you the use, but I mean, the more you do it, the more you find it useful. People who work with information can have spells about gathering information, can have a tool, maybe some kind of sensor that will go detect the truth or provoke the truth to manifest itself. It can be useful for healing, can be useful for justice, for personal growth, for teaching. I know Akashatai's form is very inclined into bringing others to understand, bringing others to become more aware of the wisdom, and it showed her students have been progressing very quickly. There has been a significant increase in people's understanding her since she uses her mystic form that has tools of understanding and awareness, okay? And people find her less offending since she has her sphere of compassion, okay? So she uses it to teach and to provide wisdom, which is useful, right? To all of you, divine being, okay, do repeat Om Tat Sat. I check for the translation in Japanese. Okay, yeah, okay, well, Tara will give you the translation of the Japanese for Om Tat Sat or Amen with the so be it, okay? I found it once, maybe I can find it in my notes, okay? Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Be patient. Put some will. Okay? Goodbye.